Bonjour Yoga Tribe. I'm here in this beautiful location in France. It's an amazing, beautiful sunny day. So here with my friend the sun, I thought digging in my archives of videos because this is a beautiful day to just practice Sun Salutations, and I just want to give you this short and sweet video to give you the foundations for the Surya Namaskars or the Sun Salutations, and there's many variations into it. There is a few classes and events coming up with this beautiful practice, which is why I want to give you that. So what I recommend for this practice, whether you are completely new to it or you are returning to it, is to probably watch it without practicing. Just watch, integrate one time. Second time, get on your mat, replay, and try to reproduce. Start to get that into your physical, your mental, and then third time, no video. Try to do the Sun Salutations if you have integrated that already, and really think of all these alignments. So it might feel like a short video, and it's not much, but it's not just a video. This is to give you the really strong foundations on which you can build up upon. So if you really want to advance your practice and make sure that you stay injury free, I see often people do it in ways that are not so good, so safe long term for wrists, elbows, shoulders. So you've got to really make sure that you really integrate all these aspects. There's a few things, not everything, but just, we start with what we've got and we build up onto that. There'll be more later, but start with that. Enjoy, and let me know, drop me some comments and send me on social media and whatnot any request for something else. And then once you've got that, you're going to be able to join. There's a Chandra Namaskar coming up, which is great, and there's also the spring equinox that is coming up with a lot of Sun Salutations. You might not be able to build up until the end of March, just a month and a bit, but if you practice, you'll get to some good level for any class, so that you can practice safely and for a long time. Alright, enjoy your practice.
Alright, so we're going to start onto all fours. So you're going to bring your knees hip-width distance apart, right under your hips, and your wrist should be right under your shoulders. So you want to almost even pretty much start to come slightly forward, so your armpits are just above your wrists. And you can start to find maybe an 𝘼𝙘𝙘𝙚 breath, so slight constriction into the back of the throat. You can start to get some movement. So for a few cat and cows, so cat and cow, you start arching into the spine as you look up, belly towards the floor. And as you exhale for your cat, you start pushing your shoulder blades up to the sky, tucking your tailbone under, looking at your navel. So cat and cow, as you progress, warming up the spine, warming up the shoulders, is a very good pose to start to become aware of your hand position. So your hand position, you should have your fingers spread out nice and wide. So you can take a moment here, maybe show me, I care about you, so I want to see everything. So maybe show me in between your fingers, that little space here, that little skin in between your fingers. So you want your fingers really spread out nice and wide, so you have a really good base here. As you continue with your cat and cow, so start to really feel the pressure of your hands on the floor, and you want to be feeling more so your finger knuckles and also the base of the palm here, so you have a really good, strong, stable base here, and you want to start to feel a bit more into those hands and more so into the index knuckle. So you want to be thinking of bringing your hands slightly inwards, kind of almost if you wanted to lift your little finger, pinky finger, so that you really press more so onto the inside of the hand. often people have a tendency to sort of get a bit lazy, elbows out, and you're more so onto the outside of the hands on the pinky, which is not good for the wrists. So again, as you start warming up your spine, start to feel this alignment with your hands. And as you exhale next into cat, so you really want to be pressing your index knuckle, and from your index knuckle all the way to your shoulder. See if you can reach your shoulder blades up to the sky, the back of the heart to the sky, and you want to be feeling your shoulder blades sort of separating. So imagine your cat. I don't know if you have cats, or you must have seen cats when they stretch, they really push it, even the hairs on the back separate, and you want to try to feel that. Your navel should be going up towards the spine. And as you inhale, you release. You should be feeling your shoulder blades coming in towards each other. So you can start to really feel into your spine, your shoulders. So you might almost feel your ears going up to your shoulders as you exhale. And see if, as you inhale into your cat, see if you can start to really draw your shoulders and elbows back so that you can create some space into the neck. So as you look up, create some space. As you exhale, you're a bit more into your ears with your shoulders. All right, so now coming to a neutral position. So try to make, again, some space into the neck here. So you want to be feeling your shoulder blades working towards your hips so that you lengthen into the neck. So you want to almost feel like you're pushing your hands back. So just like gripping really with your hands, tip of the fingers gripping. And just like if you wanted to pull the mat towards your knees so that your shoulder blades go towards your hips, shoulders away from the ears, so that you really create some length. Still pushing nice and strong, so your elbows are straight. And you want to be thinking of bringing your hands inwards. So that should bring your the crease of the elbows pointing forward. So this will help you with your vinyasa as we go through into onto the floor. And that way you should be feeling a bit more broadening into your shoulders so that you reach back. Also, you want to have your index finger pointing, I don't know if you can see really well here, index finger is pointing forward and aligned with the outside edge of the shoulders. So you reach back with your shoulders and you release. So we'll just do that a few times, bringing your shoulders up into your ears. So this is what you don't want to do, but going into what we don't want to do, you might feel how you go into the other side. So reaching your shoulder blades towards your hips. And you can do that just a few times. So only the arms, the shoulders should be moving. So arms are still straight. And you just bring your shoulder blades up to your shoulders, up to your ears. So just like when you're going a bit like this. If that's easier, maybe you can just do that a few times. Relaxing the shoulders as you exhale. Inhale, exhale. So maybe doing that into your cat and cow. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So nice and slow. Maybe a few more times. And we're going to move into Anahata. So before we get into the down dog, shoulders are quite important to start being open. So the good way to do this, you can bring your elbow just about where your hands are and you come onto your forearms and you can start to walk your knees back a little bit, making sure that your hips are going to stay right above your knees, and you can start to bring your chest down towards the floor so you can bring your forehead to the floor. So keep pressing your hands nice and firm into the floor, feeling the arching into your lower back. So keep reaching your hips back and up. So this is also called puppy pose. So before we take it to our down dog. Before the big dog, we have the little puppy. And just see if you can start feeling this opening into under the armpits, opening of the shoulders. Still trying to get your shoulders away from your ears. So we'll just take a few breaths here, not going too deep if you're not warm yet, just to get a little bit of opening into the shoulders and feeling the stretch of the hips back and up. Nice and slow, we're going to come forward. You can walk your knees slightly forward under your hips. And you can tuck your toes under. So just taking a moment to check that your hands are still in good position. So again, your fingers are spread out nice and wide. You want your index finger to be pointed forward and aligned with the outside edge of your shoulders. So that way your hands are just a little bit wider than shoulder width. You press that into the floor. Again, if you can think of rolling your forearm inwards so that you press more so onto your index finger. And then you tuck your toes under, so really press your hands onto the floor. And then you're going to start to lift your knees. Just lifting your knees slightly off the floor, and you want to really push your hands from your index finger all the way to your hips. So you want to be feeling the stretch through your shoulders, reaching back. So you start with a soft bend into your knee, so there's no point going already with a straight leg. And you want to feel that alignment from your wrists, shoulder to your hip. So ideally, your arms and back spine is in line. And then you can start to bend one knee after the other, maybe just getting a little bit of movement so that you start to get into your down dog, getting some kinks out of the way, maybe opening the shoulders a little bit more as you bend one knee. Your hip is going out one way, so you'll be feeling a bit more stretch under the armpit, the side of the body. And then coming back to neutral, so you might want to rebend maybe a bit your knees so that you push your hips back and up, so really lengthening. And you want to try to keep the alignment that we had before, so shoulder blades down as much as possible so that you lengthen into the neck. So you don't want to have any tension into your neck, trapezius. And see if you can let your head drop down. You want to make sure that your shoulders are broadening as well. So just like we did before, as you work your shoulders away from your ears, your shoulders broaden, you relax into the neck, and you can look between your knees. So you can keep a soft bend into your knees until one day maybe you bring your feet flat. You want to make sure that your feet are hip-width distance apart with and being parallel to each other. And don't worry if your heels are not touching the floor yet. I've done this a few times. Seulement une ou deux fois. Again, what's important here is not to have the legs straight. If you don't have the hamstring flexibility, it's not going to happen. And then by wanting to straighten your legs, what's going to happen is your back is going to round, which is not what we want. So you bend into your knees, reach your hips back. So your back is nice and straight. That's what we want. And then over time, it will automatically just start to open up a bit more the back of the body, the calves, hamstrings, and then you will start to get into a more pretty pose. It's not about the looks anyway, it's more about what you feel. So a few more breaths into your down dog. See if you can keep the gaze at your knees or maybe even your navel. So you want to really use your core here, navel in towards the spine. So you engage your core and you can also activate your quads. So if you activate your quads, your thighs, it will help with the hamstring stretch. So you want to pull your thighs up towards your belly as you use your core. Reach your hips up. Maybe a little yes and no with your head. Very good. And then slowly coming down. onto your knees. You can release, maybe give a bit of a stretch to your wrists. So one way to stretch the wrist really nice is to get hold just under the wrists with your index and thumb and making the hand really loose. And you just shake it. Once more, other side. So if you have blocks, one thing you can try, this is probably a bit more for beginners, but just placing your blocks just about shoulder width. So placing your hands again onto your block, and you're just going to try. So this really helps to get the alignment with the back flat and not around the back so much. So bending into your knees as much as possible, so you will feel a bit more how this helps to push the hips really back and up. If you don't have blocks, you can just do again your down dog on the floor. That's all right, just bending your knees and pushing your hips back. Just a couple of times here. And then we'll come back down on our knees. So just want to go through, we're not going to go through a whole vinyasa sequence, but I just want to mention, so we'll go through Surya Namaskar, Sun Salutations. So what's important also, as already mentioned, is to really work the shoulders away from the ears as we come down into Ashtanga position. So Ashtanga position, we start from the Chaturanga, you bring your knees down, so it's a little bit different from the cat and cow, wider stance. But what's really important here is to try to keep the shoulder blades up. So again, this alignment of pushing the hands right into the floor, reach your shoulder blades up and shoulders away from the ears. And then you start to come forward, bending into the elbows. So again, you want to be turning the eye of your elbow outwards. So just like if you wanted to sort of open your hands energetically, that way, that will allow you to have your elbows pointing back. Because often what I see people going down with the elbows out. That means you're turning in too much, so you have your elbows facing each other. So you want to open up, but you want to keep your elbows in. That way, when you go down, you start moving forward, so shoulders are away from the ears, and as you start moving forward, bringing the weight of the body onto your shoulders, you really feel your deltoid and triceps working, so that's what you want. That way you start arching into your spine, and you come down, chest, forehead, so you'll notice that my elbows are pointing back. You'll also maybe notice that my mic has gone out. So very important to keep the elbows off the floor. So this is not like puppy that we did. Your elbows are not gonna come on the floor. They stay up and back as much as possible. Chest, forehead to the floor, and then you release, and then we'll move through that Vinyasa Bhujangasana, and then that's where we move from there to our down dog. So you tuck your toes, and you can move through, maybe even just passing through a child's pose is quite helpful to feel that stretch of the spine and the hips back and up. So from there, again, you press your hands, still aligned, shoulders broaden, you lift your knees, and you can even almost stay into this pose. That's very good for the core as well, strengthening a little bit, just really lengthening, and then over time you'll reach up and heels down. All right, so how does that feel? Good. So we'll put that into good practice now. So we'll start with our Surya Namaskar. So see if you can really remember the alignment of the hands, protracting the shoulders, so shoulder blades down as we move through our Surya Namaskar. So let's come to the top of the mat. Hopefully you feel that, and we'll put it into practice. So top of the mat, feet together. You can bring your hands at your heart center. We're into Tadasana. Nice and slow, still going with your 𝘼𝙘𝙘 breath. As you inhale, you stretch your arms up, look up. So again, relaxing into your shoulder blades already. Opening your arms, keeping your arms parallel in line with your body. Nice and slow as you exhale. You can start to fold at the hip level, bending into the knees as much as needed, protecting your lower back. Fingertips to the floor. So nice and slow as we're going to step back with our left leg. You can already place your hands on the floor. So left leg back, you drop your knee, point your toes. So you can be maybe on your fingertips, or if you have already a bit more opened into your body, you can place your hands already on the floor. Again, index finger aligned with the outside edge of your shoulders. And then looking up, nice and slow. We're going to move into Chaturanga, so you can tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, press your hands onto the floor, and you stretch your right leg back. So we're into Chaturanga. So again, shoulders over the wrists. Moving into Ashtanga. As you exhale, you bring your knees down. And again, that's where you want your elbow crease forward, so that when you start bending into your elbows point back, and you start moving your weight slightly forward, shoulder blades back, bringing your chest all the way down. Releasing all the way down onto your belly. You point your toes, so your hands shouldn't be moving. As you inhale, you use your back muscles to move into Ardha Bhujangasana. Lengthening into the neck, so shoulder blades are still relaxed. Slowly you can release. Tucking your toes under. Pushing onto your hands. You can stretch your hips back through a child's pose. So stretching from your index finger all the way to your hips. And then you lift your knees, pushing your toes into the floor, lift up, et voila, we're into down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So maybe just a couple of bends into the knees, walking your dog. And then on your next inhale, looking forward between your hands, you're going to step your left foot forward right by your left hand, using your core muscles. You drop your back knee, point your toes, and as you inhale, you look up. Nice and slow, you release, looking down, stepping all the way forward. Maybe still a soft bend into your knees, and as you inhale, you can start to roll your spine up vertebrae by vertebrae, coming all the way up. Lifting your hands all the way to the sky. Exhale, you release. All right, so let's take one more round on the other side. Inhale. And then we'll go into some more alignment. Exhale, folding forward. Maybe soft bend into your knees still. Already placing your fingers as they should for your down dog. You step your right leg back. Drop the knee, point the toes. Again, if you can bring your hands flat already, that's good. Looking up, you can even roll your eyes upwards to your third eye. Slowly releasing, you tuck your back toes. Chaturanga, you can hold the breath here for a moment. Checking that your fingers are nicely aligned, shoulders over your wrists. As you exhale, Ashtanga, knees, chest, forehead. So keep pointing the elbows back. Elbows are off the floor, coming slightly forward. Shoulder blades nice and relaxed towards your hips, releasing all the way down to the floor. Point your toes as you inhale, using your back muscles. You can start lifting maybe a little bit higher this time into your full Bhujangasana. Again, you don't want to have your shoulders up to your ears. You want to really lengthen into your neck, so you bring your shoulders down towards your hips, broadening into the collarbone, feeling the stretch into the whole front of the body. Slowly releasing, mindfully you roll your spine down, you tuck your toes under. Again, push onto your hands, reaching your hips back and up, so your elbows are still pointing back. Extend your arms, push onto your feet, you reach your hips back and up. As you inhale, you step your right leg forward. Drop your knee, point your toes, look up. Nice and slow as you exhale, looking down, stepping forward. Maybe still bending into your knees if you need to. Slowly you can start to come up.
Okay, so as you can see, the sun has dropped. We have finished the sun salutation. Time to integrate for a moment and then do it again or do it tomorrow. The key is practice, connect to the breath so that you can really feel those movements and continue to practice. Have a good practice. Au revoir.